Aloha everybody and welcome back to part 13 of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. We've just made it to a new dungeon and this first part's a little clumsy, I'm not gonna lie. As a mermaid, Yai can't just swim directly above where she needs to go. You kind of have to like rush into the wall while tilting up, and the camera angle's not great, so it's not the most graceful thing in the world. But right off the bat, they put you in a corridor with a big giant fan, right? It's blowing spike balls one way, and you have to swim against the current towards the fan in order to get to the chute to progress with the dungeon. Okay, fine. But when you start off, you are facing the direction that the stream is going. You're facing the direction the spike balls is going, and the fan is blowing and stuff. So like, if you immediately go upwards and then just swim forward, you actually find yourself going into an alternate exit that takes you back to the Japanese Sea, back to the icy area we came from in order to reach this submarine in the first place. So it's like you just entered the dungeon, you just entered, you swim a little bit, and then you're out of it again. You know? I just entered the dungeon, why am I out? I want to keep going, what the fuck, Konami? Why is your level design so confusing? Why is it so strange? It's very odd, Konami, very odd, Konami. So I would say that's probably the clumsiest part of the beginning of the game, but, the beginning of the dungeon, I should say. But, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're at the penultimate dungeon of the game. This is the last area until the end of the game, the very end of all things. And, this is where we're going to be finding the last miracle item, and we need that in order to go into outer space to save Kyushu, to save Omitsu, to defeat the Peach Mountain Shoguns once and for all. And, yeah, it's a fantastic dungeon. I really like this thing. It's a lot more simple in comparison to the other dungeons. It's a lot like the first dungeon, Oedo Castle. It's not as complex as the Ghost Toys Castle. It's definitely not as complex or as long as the Festival Temple Castle, but I'm fine with that. To me, this is just a straight-up platforming challenge, you know? There's lots of floating platforms, it's mostly linear. Sometimes you see a door with a lock on it, and sometimes you see a door with no lock on it. Branching pathway, but I can only go one way. I wonder if I go down this way, and then I find a key and come back the way I came. It's not that confusing at all, but, you know, it's still fantastic in terms of its platforming. And it's a breath of fresh air when you've experienced so many underwater dungeons with this era of gaming. When I think of like the PlayStation N64 era, God, water dungeons are the worst thing ever. You always dread whenever you have some kind of underwater theme, you know? Also, yes, we are on a rotating sushi bar, a sushi conveyor as platforms. And the sushi and the food themselves come to life, and we have to attack them. Hey, they have contact damage, so they're, you know, they're vicious. They're vicious sushi. They're vicious pieces of food. And we have to destroy them, of course. But I like the gimmick of this dungeon. It's both a submarine, so it's an underwater structure, you know. But it's also a weird, like, food-related thing. There's, like, all these like cakes you're jumping on and pressure cookers that can burn you, and you know there's noodles and stuff in the water that you're swimming around in, so it's got like a food theme going on despite being in a submarine. Like look at there's giant ramen bowls. There are giant ramen bowls that we have to platform, and you can't fall in there because it burns your feet and it will damage you, so don't fall in, don't fall in. Lord Raiden. I made that joke ages ago, but you know. Also, funky music. Oh my god.
ほやほや助け完了行くわよ行くわよ
I love this soundtrack so much. Oh, it's so good. Sorry, I have to do that with every single new piece of music that we hear. It's amazing. I understand if people see the footage from this game and they don't want to play it, or they don't want to watch the LP in general, but the hell? The guys watching this right now, the people watching this video right now, you are the true fans, and I love you for it. The joke's on the people who aren't watching. I'm not going to be playing Sonic and Mega Man that much anymore, so I'm going to be playing all kinds of shit that I like, and if they don't like it, too bad. But thanks for watching. I appreciate you. You're amazing. But, you know, it's such a good soundtrack, and even if you never play this game, God, look up the soundtrack of Mystical Ninja. It's on YouTube. It's such a banging OST. It might be my absolute favorite soundtrack of all Nintendo 64. I know, that's a big, bold statement, but it really is just amazing music from beginning to end. It is beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at all the food they're throwing at me. Jesus Christ. It's not that hard, game. It's not that hard. Either way, because, like, it's a water-themed dungeon, right? And when I think of, like, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, everyone hates the water dungeon. You have to constantly keep switching out Link's boots. You have to constantly raise and lower the elevation of the water in order to fit your puzzles and to help you navigate through it, and it's long and it's boring and it's just nobody likes doing the water temple in Ocarina of Time. I think about Mega Man Legends 2. I did a playthrough of Mega Man Legends 2, and anyone who saw that playthrough knows I hate the second dungeon of that game because it's underwater. And for some reason, Capcom was like, hey, let's make Mega Man go super, super slow. Let's make this dungeon go on way longer than it needs to. Let's make everything a tedious chore. And it's like, God, I hate water dungeons. It's, you know, it's a theme with, like, video games in general, you know? I don't usually like water levels because they slow the action down, and I know that's what water does, but you can have good water levels, you know? You can make things a little more fast-paced, you can make them short enough or more exciting to actually want them to be... to actually want to keep playing water levels. There's stuff you can do with that, you know? And it's just, they don't often do that. Most of the time, water levels are just slower and not as fun. But this submarine, it's great. It's just pure platforming. It's lots of weird enemies, like... I like these dollies who just, like, home in on you. They have, like, a jetpack up their ass, and then they just drive towards you. That's amazing. You wouldn't think he could grab that ledge, but he can. Because, like, I was wondering for a while, like, how do I get to that pot? How do I get to those dumplings? And then I just kept jumping towards the ledge, which seemed like it was at my head's height. But no, I can grab it, amazingly. So I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. I won't question it. Seems like Sasuke jumped up a frame a little bit, but whatever, I'll take it, I'll take it. But inside this room, we go to find ourselves a new item for Ninja Agent Yai. The Yai Bazooka. This allows Yai to shoot things from a distance, so it's kind of the equivalent of, like, Goemon's Ryo. However, the bazooka has a lock-on feature, which is so helpful when you're surrounded by enemies. Oh, yeah. So watch out for the burger patty here. Don't touch it. It burns. Oh, God! Like I said, it burns. But when you charge up the Yai Bazooka, there's going to be, like, lock-on targets, lock-on cursors onto the enemies, and then the homing projectiles will just gun for the enemies, and then, yeah. Of course, it wastes Ryo. It wastes 3 Ryo every time you charge up the shot, so you gotta be careful, but, you know. Money is no object to me. I am the richest fool in all of feudal Edo, Japan. Also, I went the wrong way. I don't know why I'm here. I thought I had to backtrack a bit, and then I was like, wait, oh no, there was a door I was supposed to go through. Oh God, I'm burning my legs, I'm burning my legs. Oh Jesus Christ, it's so hot! And it really is hot. I'm sweating my ass off behind the scenes. My God. I'm doing 2 videos today, and it's very hot. Goddamn construction. Fuck you, construction. God. But, yeah. So there's a few like underwater segments, you know, there's like seahorses to run into and stuff, but it's nothing crazy. I don't need to like raise or lower the water levels to be a certain way. I just have to get through. I just have to do the platforming. And the music's funky and it's really, really good. So this is a great water dungeon, in my opinion. This is what I love about Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. Good tunes, fantastic 3D platforming. It's just a fun game to just play through. You know, as a platformer fan, it just it tickles that itch, you know? It tickles that itch on my funny bone somewhere. Stupid wooden samurai! Even in Berserker mode, they can't do shit to Ibisamaru! I got a silver hammer, you idiots! Alright, this looks like it might damage you, but it actually doesn't. You have to ride in the ramen bowls in order to get across. These foxes were always annoying because you can only, like, kind of stun them with Sasuke's frozen kunais. The kunai of severe cold. And, that's it. You know, you try attacking them with Rio, you try attacking them with the pipe, Yai's bazooka, which I just found that has a lock-on feature, doesn't do anything to the fox masks. And I'm like, ah, come on, come on, come on. Also, the game is very generous. Every time there's a big, you know, no platforms, nothing to walk on, there's always a sign that tells you, hey, use the camera and you'll get some pathways. Okay, thanks. I could have thought for myself and tried something, but whatever. Whatever, Konami. I complain so much. I love this game. I'm nitpicking so much with this game, but I love playing it. I've always had fond memories playing this as a kid, because it always felt like one of the most underrated, most overlooked, you know, Nintendo 64 games, because like nobody really knows much about the Mystical Ninja series. It's a much more popular franchise in Japan than it is here in North America, and it's like some people know what Goemon is, but most people don't, you know. It's like Super Smash Brothers, right? Super Smash Brothers Ultimate came out with a Goemon Mii costume. You can play as Goemon in Smash Ultimate. However, most people just kind of went, huh? When that trailer happened. It's like the costume of Goemon showed up and it was just like, okay, I don't know who that is, but alright. And then Sans from Undertale came out and completely overshadowed that moment. So even if you did notice that Goemon was just added to Smash Ultimate as a Mii costume, whatever, Sans from Undertale's in it, so who gives a shit anymore? Sorry, Goemon, you can't compete with Undertale. I mean, Undertale's a great game. I like it. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, Jesus Christ! I'm just saying it's an obscure series, you know? It's an obscure series. So, when I played this as a kid, I always felt like I discovered some gem. Some amazing, super awesome game that nobody else knows about. But I know about it, and it's got the best soundtrack, and the platforming's really, really fun, and there's nothing in it that I find frustrating as hell. There's no water dungeon for Mystical Ninja, you know? Even though we're in a submarine. This is no water dungeon. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? I think you get what I'm saying. Also, it has kick-ass giant mecha fights, where you pilot a giant Megazord and take on big, giant monsters. And, we might be seeing another one of those real soon. You have finally made it as far as here to see me, the mighty Poron! Do you ever give up? I sense you were a die-hard fan of mine! Huh? I didn't come here to see you. I've come to get the miracle item. You're saying, not for me, but the miracle, is that so? It's too bad. Last time I was in the Kansai region on a vacation. I dropped it somewhere in the Zazen town. You've got to be kidding! Well, if he's not kidding, we must return to Zazen town at once. Oh boy, these guys again. It's not gonna be that easy, Lala. Lily! You're all getting in the way too often. Therefore, I'm taking you on a one-way trip somewhere far, far away. Yes, Lala! You're invited to hell, Fernandez! Holy shit! What are you doing here? I just thought, since I've only been in a few scenes... By the way, the word scenes has nothing to do with my name, because my name is not Dancine. Lala! You're taking valuable time away from my scene to tell us that awful joke! You've got much to learn! To be a star, you've got to stand out like a sore thumb! That's not fair! Mr. Danson, Miss Lily, what should I do? Oh! Well, why don't you use the device to get rid of those guys? Ouch, I say! Yes, sir. Anyway, goodbye, Fernandez. Hey, that's my line! What was that all about? Well, as the man says, goodbye. Switch to the on position. Bye! Slime ball, stop right there! What's going on? T-minus 30 seconds. It looks like the time bomb has been activated. Are you saying we're gonna be food for the fish in a matter of seconds? It's fish food. Why'd you phrase it like that? It's very strange. We've got no other choice but to... Do what, Goemon? Are we gonna have to summon a gigantic friend of ours? Round 2, baby! We're back with Goemon Impact! Aw, yeah! So just like before, we start off with an auto-scrolling section where we're running through rocks and houses, and that gives you money, by the way. The money count is in the top left. It gives us a projectile weapon when we're actually fighting in the upcoming boss fight, but you still gotta watch out, because there's like ropes that'll trip you up and then you'll die. There's big mountains that you have to hit before you run into them, because you'll die from the contact damage. And you don't want to lose too much health because we want to have as much health as we can for the boss fight, you know. It's like, there's no dying in this section. I've never died in the auto-scroller, like, running segments, but you do control how much health you have based on how much damage you're taking through these things. So, you know. Just be cool and destroy all the houses, because fuck them. Because fuck them, I say. I don't know who they belong to. Let's just assume they belong to the Peach Mountain Shoguns and not to innocent people who are just minding their own business. No, all of these houses need to go. They need to go, because Goemon Impact, you know, nothing gets in his way. Nothing gets in the Impact's way. Otherwise, they get the impact, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Assume that this guy's been in a previous Goemon game before, because otherwise I'm not really sure why they're calling him Taisamba 2, unless this is like a reference to Japanese folklore or something. I have no idea. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have another Megazord boss fight, and I love these battles. They are so damn fun. So with this battle, I'm going to be using projectiles a lot more. The Rio that you get in the auto-scroller sections, which you can see in the bottom left, I had 267, but by hitting the projectiles with my fists, I now have 292. So you use the Z button in order to shoot Rio at your enemies. And sometimes the enemy will shoot projectiles at you, and if you punch them rather than use projectiles, you'll get money back for doing so. So even if you didn't collect that much money on the runner segment, you can still get a whole bunch of money just by fighting the bosses themselves. And I like it. I like it. You're moving the cursor around with the control stick, and that actually changes your point of view. It changes where the fists will be when you're like throwing your punches. So like where you're looking really matters in how Goemon Impact actually attacks things. If you want to attack something, you gotta be looking at it. Boom! Like that, motherfucker! You absolutely have to be looking at the enemy in order to punch him square in the face, because if you're looking away, the punch will be aiming at nothing, and then you just wasted that punch. But I like that you actually look around the cockpit, and you can look at the meters on the top and the meters on the bottom right. The one at the top is the health bar, right? So like, you can see how much health the enemy has when you look above. Right now it's at 620. I want it to be at 0. I hit him with the chain and went down a little bit. It went down 20 points. And when I hit him some more here, ball right in the dick. Down to 290. That's how much damage that did. That is so helpful. Good lord. And how you're doing is your oil. So if I'm at 437 health, if I go down to 0, then I'm dead. And Jesus! I was following the radar, but when he actually did that surprise attack, his red arrow didn't actually go to where he was when he hit me. So sometimes the radar doesn't always help you. It's good for giving you an idea of where your enemy is, but it doesn't always help. And yeah, you can protect yourself with your arms. If you push left C twice or right C twice, Goemon Impact will put up his arms and cover his face, and then you can kind of save yourself a little bit of damage, you know. But I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. Ugh! I didn't expect that to be the final blow. I didn't expect to kill him with the chain. Whoops. Either way, folks, that's Tai Samba 2. Hell yeah! Well, I've got a movie to complete, so I must head back to France. If you need me again, au revoir! That Goemon Impact is so cool. But yeah, folks, that was the penultimate dungeon until the end, and we didn't actually get the miracle item. The baddies didn't have it. They dropped it over in Zazen Town. So, next part, we're going to be doing a lot of cleanup before we head to the final area of the game. First, we get the miracle item, and then we hunt down the rest of the fortune cats. Let's finish this thing in part 14. See you then.